ever guess what I'm going to ask you about next? Just guess.
Could it possibly be a love triangle?
Okay, but here's my first question about this love triangle. At this point in the show, at this point in Nancy's arc, are you even thinking about it as a love triangle, or are you defining it as something different?
Yeah, it's funny. Me personally, these questions are always kind of tough to answer because no, I get the concept, and I can see that it's we're pitting things, but for me in Nancy, it's not. It's just so much more gray than that, and so much more realistic in relationships and just how they evolve and how they change, and not putting everything in a box. And I think in the context of everything that's going on, it's really hard to be like, well, who's she gonna end up with? And it's like, well, in the world of our characters, like the world is, potentially gonna end, and they just had like this giant rift thing, and they just narrowly escaped death again. I don't know. Maybe who's to say who she's gonna end up with? It's a really funny thing, but I like that it interests people still.
I feel like that's a big reason why it interests me, and that usually, admittedly, when there's a lot going on in a show and there is a quintessential love triangle, that's the thing that often interests me least.
Yeah.
But these feel like such deeply personal journeys that are getting at a whole lot more than who's going to wind up with who. It's literally about character growth through each other, regardless of, how you want to quantify their relationship.
Yeah. No, I think that's well said. That's how it goes to me.
With that in mind, no matter what happens with them from this point on, what do you think is one thing that she gains from Steve that you find influencing your own portrayal of Nancy? And then also, what is something about her experiences with Jonathan that's added a layer to the character that you have enjoyed working with?
I think, okay, so for Nancy and Jonathan, I think they really bonded through this sort of outsiderness, I think, which I think our show really is. It's a bunch of outsiders, and they're all outsiders in, very different ways. But I think all of them have an element of just feeling not the same as like kind of the masses. And I think for them, season one, they really bonded over this sense of thinking differently than everybody else. And I think they sort of helped each other open up. I think there's like a deep, bond and things that they've been through together. There's, that shared trauma thing. And I think with Steve, I think this season, like, he's really surprised Nancy. Like, these are two characters who haven't seen each other in a while. And I think, there was always like warmth from Steve and like love, and there was like a balance. She's the smart girl and he's like the jock guy, and there's something about that dynamic that works in a way. But I think he's really grown up, and I think that impresses her a lot this season. That he's grown up, he's kind of come to terms with things, and he also like cares deeply and is brave, and I think that's something that she aligns with as well. So, it's tricky because I think they're both of those relationships are really interesting. And, they ask her to be different things in a way. Like maybe, I don't know, like maybe she feels more, I don't know, maybe I'll get in trouble for saying this. Like with Jonathan, maybe it's like more of the caretaker. And I think maybe she thinks Steve is a little more caretaking. I don't know, it's a funny thing, especially for someone who's so like, gung-ho and kind of like controlling sometimes.